Meeting to order. Today is July 26, 2023, 7 p.m., Town of Southington Board of Finance meeting. What we do first is we stand for a Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a roll call. Mr. Bose, roll call, please.
Mr. Lebenik is absent.
No, he's absent.
Mr. Pocock?
Here.
Mr. Bodwin?
Absent.
Mr. Morrison?
Here.
Mrs. Zoni?
Here.
Chairman Larry?
Here.
4-0, you have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to just ask for unanimous consent to handle old business and then to just realign the agenda to push up to the top the Section X administrative business and Section XI or 11, the other administrative business. Push all that to the top and do the narratives and analysis after. Any objection?
Nope.
Okay. Let's go forward. We'll seek the approval of, we have two sets of minutes. The approval of the minutes of June 14th.
So moved. Second.
Motion and second. I think we have discussion on the minutes.
Yes, I would appreciate having my name changed to Mrs. Zoni. Tonight's my 48th anniversary, and I deserve the title.
What did I call you?
Ms. in the minutes.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that. Angela sent some to me, but if I had seen that, I would have corrected it.
Thank you.
Okay. We'll make that note. With that notation made, all in favor of approving the minutes with that notation?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the minutes of June 14th of regular meeting are approved, 4-0. Now we move to approve the minutes of the June 14th executive session, which you just basically say we went into it when we came out. That's it.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the minutes are approved. The next item is discussion and an action or possible action on school security issues as discussed at June 14th. An appropriation of $732,873 to capital for school security expenses, and then the appropriation for $732,873, same amount, to move it from fund balance utilized. So from fund balance to be able to use it, and then to use it on school security. I think we take that up.
Actually, you can take it up right now.
We take it up right now.
Yep.
Is there any further discussion? We have a paper, we'll have to hand it back for confidentiality. The
Right.
school security and everybody, the public watching or anybody should know that the school board really tries to keep confidential what they do for security, because to discuss it all in public and to release it or have it written in minutes or have it be circulated may compromise the very security we're trying to enable. So the superintendent and the chairperson of Southington School Board of Education is here and asked us to keep this privileged and confidential. So with that said, I ask that no member discuss a particular item, but just in general what we're trying to do. And the number, once again, is $732,873 for school security across all different aspects, all different buildings, all different projects.
Just for full disclosure, Mr. Chairman, that that number includes a 5% contingent.
Oh, that's why. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think we asked for that
And
or something.
this board
last
did
year.
ask for that when we discussed it.
Just so we wouldn't have to come back
That's
for.
correct.
If it's not spent, it's not spent.
I'd like to speak.
Yeah, please.
Although I do plan to vote for this, I'm very upset that it was, I believe, requested as part of the school budget, and certain people on this board, as well as the town council, voted to cut the monies from this budget requested by the school board that would have covered this. It should have been a part of the school budget, and it was requested as far as I understand, and I believe in the security. I believe in the security of the students, all of the staff, and all the personnel, of everybody who goes in and out of the buildings. And so I am going to support it, but I do not think this is the appropriate way to do it now and in the future.
Okay, I just want to seek a little clarity on that, though. I mean, I understand the position. I think we always support safety. There's never been, I don't think there's ever been a safety issue brought, as long as we've been here, that we all didn't support. Maybe want to tweak it a little, but we all wanted to support it. I do want to ask when this list was put together. Was it post-budget or was it pre-budget? Did this happen after the budget, or was this list sitting somewhere during the budget? Help me out.
So it's a combination of both. Some of the items were on a non-lapsing account prioritized list that we had approved and planned on using the 2% carry forward funds. And when we were trying to offset the increase to this year's proposed budget, the board voted to utilize those non-lapsing funds to offset the increase to the operating budget. So we weren't able then to proceed with that prioritized list, which included some of these items. But then when we had further conversations with this board, the Board of Finance, Town Council, through the Committee of the Chairs, there was a request that if there were items that we didn't ask for because we knew we just wouldn't be able to afford them, or if they had been eliminated as part of the budget process, that we generate a comprehensive list and bring that forward for consideration.
But I just want to, so we're talking about maybe a couple 100,000 early and then 400,000 added, right?
No, we in the budget you showed us there was $78,000 worth of security issues, which the Board of Education didn't approve, and it, so we didn't approve it either. That was $78,000, and I recognise a couple of things here. The amount is a few $1,000s. To say that we cut $697,000 of security out of the budget is flat wrong. It's just plain wrong. And I don't understand why we're saying that. I really don't.
We cut a budget, and a budget includes many things, and it has to be prioritized by the people that do it. And part of that prioritization includes security.
We
includes
cut.
these items.
Right.
Yes, no, not we. A certain group of people,
Okay.
not including me.
This board cut $625,000.
4 people on this board voted to cut, not this board. 4 people voted to cut. 2 of us voted not to.
It is a democratic board, but okay. 4 people on this board voted to cut $625,000 out of the school budget. This is a sum of $697,000, which is way above the $625,000 that we cut. So how are you saying that they're related in any way? And the truth is, they're
Because
not.
sometimes you don't always know all the things involved when you begin a project, and sometimes there's inflation, as you guys all talked about so much at your meetings, that inflation was the big driver of the increase in the taxes.
You're not answering the question I wrote, which is, how come when we cut $625,000,
I just
this
told
is
you,
for
your answer was
$697,000.
inflation.
$697,000.
Your answer was inflation.
Which wasn't on our radar, which is why we didn't
Okay,
cut it.
we'll seek more clarity, Superintendent.
So I think we're talking about 2 separate processes. The non-lapsing or carry forward funds, there were some items that were on this list, never part of the proposed operating budget that this Board of Finance saw. They were on the non-lapsing account list. Those were the items that the Board of Education went through. They kept some of the items that were on the non-lapsing list, and then the remaining items, they decided to use those funds instead, reallocate or repurpose those funds to offset the proposed increase that we were bringing to the Board of Finance. So you never saw those items on your list. The $625,000, I believe that Mrs. Zoni is referring to, was an additional cut from the Board of Finance, or a recommended cut from the Board of Finance to the Town Council after that carry forward fund had already been incorporated as part of our proposed operating budget that we brought forward to you. They were 2
So we
separate.
never saw, that was all in the working papers
Correct.
of the Board of Ed. Okay. Well, bottom line is, we want to support, I believe we do, we want to support whatever's on this list, not discuss it in detail, not because we're hiding it, but again, because we want to keep it privileged and confidential so our words don't compromise the safety and security. And I know you're going to collect back this list so it doesn't inadvertently get out. We understand that. So,
But I just want to make a comment on that, which is the first time we saw this was June 14th, way after the budget process had been decided. So talking about cuts in the budget process has nothing to do with this. The exception of the $78,000 worth of stuff that was, that was the Board of Ed didn't want to fund out of, and there's obviously a couple of items here, right? So I just want to make sure that everybody understands that, because I don't like people accusing us of doing things to the school budget. I really don't, okay? So thanks for that.
Yes.
The procedural matter, this money will be treated similar to carryover funds the superintendent's very much aware. Each one of these projects comes through my office, I sign off on it, so that's the same plan we're going to have with
So
this.
we'll have the same controls
Exactly,
over
correct,
the use.
correct.
And if there's something left over, it's left over. We don't add to the list, we'll come back here.
Uh,
If things are more, you're right, we have a contingency in
Well,
there.
certainly if there's more money left over, the Board of Ed can certainly talk to you about adding things to add more
Yeah.
items to this, or you could choose not to use the money. It's up to you.
But I'm glad this brings us to like an agreed upon higher level of safety, puts people's minds at ease, and I think we're doing the right thing here. And just so people know where it's coming from the excess in the rainy day fund. The rainy day fund's broken into two. It's one fund. It's called undesignated reserve balance, right? Unassigned
Unassigned.
reserve balance, the
Unassigned fund
proper name
balance.
for it. We call it the rainy day fund. There's two pieces in there. One piece is the part that the policies we wrote direct that we keep in there. I think it's 11% of revenues. And then anything above that, we call that excess rainy day. We have excess rainy day. We can't use it for operations. If we use it for operations, it's a sign of an irresponsible management trend. We don't want to do that and compromise bond ratings, but we can use it for capital, one-time expenditures, emergencies, the higher amount, and this is what we're doing. So that's what's on the table. Again, the amount is $732,873. Any more discussion?
Just a question for, sorry, go after you there.
Well, my only thing here is I don't want to diddle whack this thing. I want to see it get done because, first of all, safety is paramount. It really is. It just has to. We've got to keep up with the times. And we can go back and forth about this all night long, and we're going to still end up with the system.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we need, bottom line.
If we're taking this out of the fund balance, if they come back later on and we've underfunded it, as it were, anything to stop us doing that?
No, there's nothing to stop us from doing it, but obviously if more money is necessary, we could look, we'll be well into the budget by that time.
Yeah, right.
So we can look at other items.
Other
But yes,
right.
the unreserved fund balance is usually the last stop on the road. But yes, obviously if we're going well into the budgets, it's May, and the superintendent and I look at our budgets and we talk about it, if we could do something at that point.
Right.
But
He makes fuss around, but there's nothing,
Right.
if we have to.
There's no prohibition.
No prohibition. Thank you.
There's a motion on the floor, is there?
Yeah, we had a motion, right? No more, just discussion?
I don't think. we
Okay,
have a
let's
motion.
ask for a motion on it.
I make a motion to approve this.
Okay, motion to approve.
Second.
Second, motion to approve 732,873, again, to capital for school security, and then a appropriation for 732,873, same amount, to fund balance utilized so that we could use it. So double, two-part motion as written in the agenda. So we have a motion, we have a second. Let's just do a roll call vote, please.
Sure, Mr. Pocock,
Yes.
Mr. Morrison,
Yes.
Mrs. Zoni,
Yes.
Chair Larry,
Yes.
4-0.
Okay, thank you. That one's done. Appreciate that.
So I just wanted to take a moment, that's why we wanted to come tonight in person, on behalf of myself and the Board of Education, Mrs. Clark, our board chair, to say thank you to the entire Board of Finance for supporting this item, and we will certainly get to work right away and get started on these enhancements. So, much appreciated.
Yep.
Actually, that's a good point, Steve. When do you reckon that we finish?
When do we recommend we finish?
When
Some of
the whole.
some of it will have to do with the good old supply chain,
Yeah.
and some of it has to do with some of the architectural engineering work that'll be involved. So there's some timelines there that aren't completely within our control, but we did anticipate getting something. So Mr. Romano has started to plant seed with some of the people that will need to be involved in the project to give them a heads up on that.
Could we have a look at it when it's done? Or?
100%. Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you again.
Okay, and thank you for bringing it forward. It's good we could all work together on some of these things. Okay, moving things, reordering the agenda. We'll skip everything and get right to the consent agenda. So we start with this administrative business consent agenda. one more time for everybody watching. Maybe there's somebody watching for the first time. The consent agenda is essentially things where we've already received the money. All we're doing is appropriating it back to the line item to spend it. Just an example would be somebody made a donation to the town, or a vehicle got in an accident, we got a check, and we're just appropriating it back so we could fix the car or use the donation. That's what this is. So, I wonder if I could take them all together.
Yes, you can.
I'll take them, I'll read them off quickly, and we'll take them all together as one vote to make it easier on everyone. So an appropriation fiscal year '23 for $47, special revenue fund for Veterans Program Services. Appropriation fiscal year '23 for $50 even, special revenue fund for ACO, Animal Control Officer Program Services. Appropriation $16, special revenue fund, Youth Services, Program Services STEPS. Appropriation for $2,375. A special revenue fund, Youth Services Program Services. Appropriation for $12,849, Youth Services Drug-Free, what's that, Drug-Free Commission?
Drug.
It's part of the Youth Services
Overtime for drug-free.
Drug-Free Initiative. The next one, $3,376, Youth Services for Medicare, MERS, and FICA. The next one is appropriation for $2,875 for the Police K-9 Program Supplies. The next one is $50 for Special Revenue Fund for the Police DARE and Crime Prevention. The number 6 is $1,460, Special Revenue Fund for the Library Belong Program. $35,000 even, the General Fund for Police Overtime. I'd like to have a motion to take them all as read, as written and read.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion, they all carry 4-0. Thank you for that. The next one, we have 11 items here in these manager memos. So, number 1, a transfer from contingency, $1,151 to central dispatch for overtime.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, that one carries. Number 1 carries 4-0. Number 2, a transfer from contingency, $78, central dispatch temporary seasonal wages.
So moved.
Motion, second.
Second.
Any discussion?
That's on your agenda because it exceeded $1,000 up to this point in time, just to let you know.
Can I just
I don't want you to think we were being
Yeah,
ridiculous.
can I have a point of information? The $1,000, is that, say you did 500, 3 months ago, and then you did 500 again. I mean, what does the $1,000 limit apply to?
It's exactly that. It's-
$1,000 per line item
Per line item.
over the whole year.
For the whole year.
So,
That's
so,
what I'm-
so if they
okay,
took,
right,
if they
got it.
took $900 out and they wanted another $200 out, the $200's got to come to
It
you.
would be before you.
That's why we get these small.
That's why you get a small
This
one.
time of year, this is what you're going to see.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's
I wouldn't mind having the authority for more if you wish.
No, it's
that's an ordinance. Isn't that an ordinance,
It'd be-
Mark?
it-
That's
Charter. It's a charter.
It would make life a lot easier.
Okay, any more discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Number 3, department transfer, $1,428, police department gasoline.
So moved.
Motion second, discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Carries 4-0. Next one, a transfer, $2,793, highway parks gasoline.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second, any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next one, department transfers, $6,257, fire department legal fees.
So moved.
Second with a discussion. This was for the union.
Let's have discussion. I'm just trying to scroll down
bargaining.
to it.
Obviously, we're in arbitration.
Right, arbitration, right, okay.
So this is just more, I missed a memo here, hold on.
Item 5, John.
Yeah, I just got to scroll to it. Got it.
Stand by you,
That's
John.
what it is. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, opposed. Number 5 carries 4-0. Interdepartment transfer, 5,907, transfer out to animal control. The other piece of it is 5,907, same amount, animal control fund, regular wages and payroll, FICA, Medicare, and MERS.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion?
I'm assuming that it was dealing with the wardens, right?
That's correct, yeah. There was nothing budgeted for the 27th pay period for that, so there was a little bit more than those amounts that you have in front of you that we need to
Right.
finish the fiscal year.
Thank you.
Favorite topics, but next.
Told you not to say that.
Appropriation, $11,878, Board of Education operations.
Rental income.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All those in favor, signify with aye. Okay.
Aye.
Carries 4-0. Next one, appropriation from the 24 year. $283,602, capital projects funds, LoSiP, the capital outlay for LoSiP.
This is money we receive from the state for capital projects.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? I think we need a roll call vote. Is that why it's down here?
No, that's not it.
No.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that was easy. Appropriation fiscal year 24, $1,794,600, capital projects fund for Plantsville safety improvements.
You originally appropriated $2,497,200 when the project was estimated to cost that. We went out to bid, it cost more. We had to go back to the state of Connecticut, the DOT approved it, and we've received additional funding, so now it's being transferred into the capital line.
So moved.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next one, a couple carry forward items. 1,737,554, general fund.
1 million.
What?
1
1
million.
million.
1,737,554, general fund, general government and board of ed, and where we have a listing
Right.
noted in the minutes that we should carry forward because it tells us all the requests, the whole carry forward list, and we'll have that attached to the minutes. And then from the sewer fund, a carry forward of 968,182, also included in the list.
And Jim, can you just 2 seconds, just give,
Yeah.
I mean, 2 seconds, just give a definition of this in case someone's watching, doesn't understand.
This is the authorization to spend in the new fiscal year for items that were legally budgeted in the old fiscal year, because there could be a purchase that was not yet completed, such as a purchase order still outstanding, or something that's going to lapse very soon after year end.
Yeah, just-
You are approving the maximum, because by the time this gets posted after the council meets in August, these items might decrease in value because some bills would have come in and been paid.
Yeah, there's parts for a pickup truck paint, pool supplies,
Correct.
engineering contracts, vehicle maintenance.
Some of those
myriad
items
of
will
things.
probably, well, the department tries to be cautious by making sure that they have those purchase orders carried into the new year, just like Superintendent Madancy said, because of certain issues with regards to various supply chain issues still in
Vendors.
certain, like the automotive industry, et cetera, but that is starting to really calm down.
And it's split approximately 50-50 by the general government and the Board of Education.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
1.7 number.
So, having that out there, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Oh,
Motion is second by Mr. Pocock. All those in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. The
This will
number
this will be revised, like I said,
ongoing,
downward.
right? So you work
and-
off like a
and-
checklist?
And report it to you folks when it's all said and done, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Last one, department transfer fiscal year 2024, this current year, $21,250 for police camera equipment.
The police put a presentation onto the council at the last meeting. They're requesting that the cameras be installed throughout the town of Southington. The total number of cameras is 26. The cameras are specifically used, based upon the presentation that they put forth, for stolen vehicles. The council unanimously approved moving forward and asked that myself and Jim, we move forward to get appropriation for it. This is a transfer from the police for a portion of that money, which is $21,250, which they're using out of their salary line item.
And what's the total amount?
You have it there.
80,000, I
90.
think, or something like that.
Just add the two together.
97,250. That's for the total of 26 camera packages.
Where's the rest of the money going to come from?
The police special duty fund.
Oh, okay.
Now, I might either have to transfer it to the general fund out of that fund or charge it directly to that fund, whichever I see the best way to do it.
That's covered, great.
And that's a fund, as you know, the town of Southington receives administrative costs and rental fees for all the vehicles that we use for special duty. It goes into a fund, and the fund is used for public.
Great. It was a good presentation to the town council.
Yeah,
It really was good.
yeah, it was a good presentation.
Okay.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Get our cameras. Okay. Transfer listings is in there. Okay, let's go back to the top of the agenda. We'll go through what we have here. All right, Mr. Bose, a fiscal assessment. I know we're early here. What do we got? Just high level, big picture. What do we got going on as we start? I know we have some issues. If we talk about them here, we could talk about them further down.
We should probably talk them just a little further down,
Yeah.
if you will.
But they are we have a revenue issue right out of the
Correct.
gate.
It's under the your review plan, strategies, initiatives. That's where
Okay,
it's on
fine.
that part of the budget. Yeah, I included with your packet the amount from the June 30th, 2023 fiscal year ending for those significant revenue variances. Right now, obviously, for fiscal year 24, new fiscal year, if you will, obviously not even 3 weeks into it. So, with the exception of that, which we're going to talk about, obviously, I will report to that to you in September at your September meeting. And but the one that's in your packet is the final for 2023. Some significant revenue variances to the good, which you're seeing on that sheet. Roman numeral 5-1.
It's approximately $2 million to the positive.
Yeah.
Say that again?
Roman numeral 5,
Yep.
item 1.
Closing off the fiscal year, we're
Hold on.
approximately $2 million to the good.
All right, closing off, okay, we're talking 23.
Yep.
That's correct.
Okay, fine.
Yep.
Got it.
Yeah, 24, Mr. Chairman, right, and members, it's obviously with only 2 weeks into the year, 3 weeks into the year, we don't have any report yet for you. We will, of course, starting with your September meeting, have that regular meeting on both the revenue and the expense side of anything that we see.
We're starting with the review initiatives. You'll tell the couple ups and downs that out of the gate we've encountered.
Correct.
All right. Any more questions on fiscal year 23 or the very start of 24?
Why don't you close out the contingency, Jim?
The contingency, there's a line item that's item 5, Roman numeral 5, I'm sorry, item number 3, summary enclosed. We started the year with $600,000. Prior to this meeting, we transferred $111,000, and before you tonight, you've already approved $1,229. Those are amounts that are going to the central dispatch budget, I believe, those two amounts. So the remaining after this budget for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2023 is $487,771. Any questions? Obviously,
We're just lucky with the weather.
we had a very benign winter. That's correct.
Yeah, that really was a
Really
blessing.
helped.
Well, that helped us in some of the reallocation monies to capital.
Yeah, right.
Okay,
It was a good thing.
so that's pretty much brings close to 2023. All right, I'll move forward here if everybody's okay. We'll move forward with the subcommittee report. Sewer, Mr. Morrison.
Just quickly, a brief sewer meeting. Obviously, the financials are for the end of the year in flux, as Mr. Bose has laid out, and we'll have a full report on that next month. But there was one financial issue only, and that's the lining project, which is we put forward $1 million every year for. And we have our vendor of choice up until now, Granite Inliner. The Granite team moved to a new company called Instituform Technologies. So we got a couple of bids for the project. We don't want to go with the team if they're not the same company, etc. So we looked at Green Mountain and Instituform Technologies. Their bids came in. They're kind of difficult to compare apples to apples. So before we decide on a vendor, we're going to have to, the staff are going to have to get a spreadsheet together and look at how much per diameter, because they have separate prices for the diameter and separate ways of billing us. So that's going to have to be worked out. We'll make a decision and pass it on, obviously, to the town council next month. And that's it.
Okay. Public Works, Mrs. Oni, Mr. Pocock?
I wasn't able to attend, Mr.
When we didn't
Pocock.
have the meeting, it was canceled.
Oh,
Okay.
cool.
I mean, the only thing is, there's a lot of paving going on. People have been very patient, I believe.
We're
from what they tell
exactly
me
right.
From the highway department, so.
Exactly right.
Paving with the rain, right?
Yeah, boy.
Pave and dig it up and it
It's
rains.
difficult, you know?
Mhm.
But they've done a real good job with that.
They're still on schedule to be completed before school
Yeah,
begins.
and that's a big plus,
It's a real.
big plus.
Okay, open space, Mr. Pocock?
We didn't have a meeting also on that.
Summertime.
Summertime, right. Summertime.
Getting quorums are not easy.
Okay,
Well, I want to, let me address one thing here. We had an issue with drainage, open space next to the Powell, getting water in there, and I want to say that a team of people must have been involved in this, Mark, and the water's been put in there, and they've done a good job with it, so I want to give the water department credit, because I certainly
Doug and his
was.
guys did a great job
Yeah,
on it.
did.
coordinating
that's
with
for the
town.
LEAF program, right? To be
Right.
able to.
It's
Well,
the LEAF
water-
and the Powell
The
program.
Powell
Yeah.
program has their own
Yeah.
separate
Okay,
program.
the separate program?
But I mean, it was hanging for 2 years, and
Nope.
with a little bit of help from everybody, it went along
Worked out
very
well.
smoothly.
Yep.
And I appreciate that, I know the committee does. So.
It says here, self-insurance will wait until the June figures are final.
That's correct.
Economic strike, Mr. Morrison?
There will be a meeting, but it's tomorrow, so nothing to report.
Okay. All right, we have investment, Mr. Bedoyne's not with us, we'll table that to next time. Anything from the fire commissioners, Mr. Pocock?
No,
Fire commission, no?
I haven't heard much on the ladder truck. I meant
Still
to
on
talk
target
to
for
the chief.
December. They moved it from September to December
did.
about 5 or 6 months ago. It's
Yeah.
still on target for December.
Okay, thank you.
And any other issues? I just wanted to ask a question, the police insurance fund that we discussed from the private duty that occurs when the town of Southington's the contractor, where we gave up a bunch of roads that they don't have to have police and flag, and in return, we were funding a
That starts
a
July
healthcare program.
1st of '24.
Okay,
Yep.
and we're prepared for that?
We are prepared for that. The only thing that we have to do in the budget next year is allocate $160,000 out of the Department of Public Works. But remember, they're saving more than that because they're not using police officers, they're using their own flagmen.
Correct, so if Department of Public Works budget stays the same, they're going to be in a better position.
Correct.
Because they're not using, they could use flagmen or not flag it at all, if it's a dead-end cul-de-sac. Okay, they could use their judgment, maybe is a better way of saying it. Everybody okay with that? That's not, that's okay. All right, any other communications? We'll call for public communications. I don't see any members of the public here, so we'll just roll back again to board communications. Any communication from board members?
Just a quick one. I did ask for a library presentation. Can we do that next month, guys? I mean,
Yeah, I don't know, we did talk about
Yeah.
that. I don't know, we talked about it, but I didn't remember. I think we need to have one, though, and I think that we have to qualify what we want to talk about. So I think,
it's just.
I think it's size and dollars, right? We
Firm it
don't,
up a little.
What would you like as far, I mean, you guys
Yeah,
have
what-
4 folks here tonight. Why don't you tell us what you want? I'll make
well, I
sure
think
we
for me, I don't think we don't micromanage it, right? So we don't want to care about, we're not concerned with content, that's not our jurisdiction over this, but the overall size and dollars is something we're concerned about. Size, dollars, how's it going? what's the vision, where are we? And for me, it's always been quality of construction, quality of materials, and I don't like, we've had projects in the past where we've gotten into a jam, and I heard the word value engineering. One that comes to mind is the library parking lot. There have been others where I hear the word value engineering, and then what appears doesn't look a thing like what was presented. So I just want to have a chat with the folks running
Sure.
the building committee and the library
Actually,
board.
best would be probably
Yeah.
Whiting Turner to come and do.
Just, we should, I think we all deserve to know where we are with that, right? Anybody object? I mean, is that?
Yeah, no, I'm also interested in some of the minor fiscal stuff, like, did we know how much, if we pause the library, do we know how much money we have at risk, in the sense of we would have to redo the existing library, because frankly, in my opinion, it's totally unusable, but we are using it. And secondly, things like the bonding, what happens to that. So I want to know those detailed fiscal issues. Because we spent money already, right? So how much do we spend?
We could do a funding status, that's easy.
Something, yeah.
That's,
right.
I'm not-
because we
I'm not
haven't
sure.
really started construction spending yet, so that's easy.
Okay.
But we
good.
do have, obviously, we have contracts with,
Understood.
Whiting Turner has contracts with all the subcontractors.
And I assume they'll tell us about that. Yeah.
And there's
Thank you.
stuff going on now.
Absolutely.
Mhm, yeah.
Yeah, the fence is already up, the trailer's there, and we're hoping to have, in fact, we were talking about doing it's not called a groundbreaking anymore, it's called a steel raising. So the steel raising is going to take place sometime in November, so by that time, you'll see steel up there already. So anyway, let's move it along.
Okay.
But let's, Jim and I will talk to Whiting Turner and see if they can get somebody here at your next meeting.
If there's anything anybody wants to hear specifically, let's just make that known to.
Do you want everything to go through? If I may recommend it to you, Mr. Chairman, have everybody run it, their idea
Sure,
for you, and
sure.
you
Tell me what, if you wanna have
communicate to either
something
Mark
other-
or myself. How's
Mine
that?
is just, size, cost, and quality of construction. If we've quote-unquote value engineered anything such as an elevator, bathrooms, something, and we're using a lesser quality of material to make it happen, I think this board would want to know that, because in the past, I can't quote specifically, but there have been buildings we built where somewhere along the way, we cheapened materials here or there, and now we pay the price later, whether it be issues at the police department or issues at Hatton School. If I just thinking out loud, the parking lot the parking lot at the library originally, what we were going to do with the hill, the hill doesn't look a thing like the plans. So just want to have that conversation. That's all. Okay. Now we can get into,
Steve can't throw it.
coming out of the gate, from what I read, Jim, I'll let you take the conversation for us, but we approved our budget, we were where we were, we did everything, we squeezed a lot on revenue, did a lot of things, and now coming out of the gate, July 1, we start the new year, and we start with two things, right? A headwind and a tailwind. We have a little upside from MERS got recalculated, and at the same time, we made a boo-boo and overappraised a car that causes a considerable
Correct.
shortfall in revenue. So could you tell us about that, and then just bring us all up to speed?
Sure. First, obviously, the headwind, the good stuff.
Well, tailwind's the good stuff.
Well, the tailwind's the good stuff.
Yeah,
I'm
you wanna
sorry.
get there fast,
That's right.
yes.
The tailwind. You can tell I know a lot about flying and or sailing.
You want the tailwind, not the headwind.
I'm a landlubber. Anyway, the tailwind is good news. Obviously, the state of Connecticut Comptroller's Office Division of MERS, which is the pension plan that we belong to, that stands for Municipal Employee Retirement System. There's got to be 80 or 90 entities in the MERS plan administered by the state of Connecticut, as you folks know. After getting late information as far as our budget process goes about what the increases were going to be for the upcoming 23-24 year, at that time, upcoming 23-24 year, kind of just blew us out of the water, just like almost every other entity that belongs to the MERS program. Obviously, many discussions were held by folks such as Mr. Shota and some of his peers, some of the elected CEOs, which I think he has kept you up front about. So, make a long story short, with the state of Connecticut comptroller, he himself stepped in, Mr. Scanlon, and did a great job ordering his folks to find a solution. Anyway, what they ended up doing, they went back to their actuarial firm and they used a couple of different methods with regards to the calculation of the liability that the whole plan would have to then have, and then it gets, of course, siphoned out to all the participant members such as us. The major one that caused a positive effect was that they used what they call an actuarial smoothing of 25 years for gains and losses in what we would call market investments returns. So this way, when you have bad news, it spreads it over 8 additional years. If you also have good news, it spreads it out over 8 additional years, up to 25 years. I did not know that the plan, I don't know, most folks knew that the plan was only being smooth for 17 years, because every defined benefit, old-fashioned type of plan that I've seen in the last decade has used a smoothing of 20 to 25 years, easy. So it's well within the actuarial standards. So with that being recalculated, as well as some changes made in the cost of living, not being so automatic by statute, but being targeted more towards regional types of cost of living inflationary figures, rather than just a ceiling of 6% or a floor of 2%. Those were the two main drivers.
Did they give 6% or did they lower it now?
Well, the 6% was per statute. It couldn't be any higher than 6%. It couldn't be any lower than 2 or 2.5%. So there were folks who got 6% already, but if it were targeted, let's say, to Social Security, it might have been 8 or 7.5 or something like that. So they kind of capped it there. Well, anyway, this has brought a recalculation by the state's firm that they use for their actuarial computation of the MERS liability, and then translate it back to the members such as us into better news for next fiscal year. In a nutshell, and then of course questions obviously we'll take, but just to summarize, the $605,000 that we needed at that special public hearing, you might recall, and the $240,000 for the $1,000 for the school system is not needed, because the amounts basically came down to what the current fiscal years are as far as percentage of payroll match.
So what were those numbers again? 60?
$605,000 on the general government side and $240,000 on the school side.
Okay.
Those were the amounts that this board approved following that special public hearing we had.
So now we approved them, put them in the budget, pushed our expenses up,
Correct.
and then now we don't have to pay them. So we have a savings out of the gate of 605 on our side, and the Board of Ed will experience 240 of savings.
Correct. That's the good news.
That's
And obviously, any questions? Obviously,
it's good,
before we-
but it's bad news that it changed like that. But it's good that it changed in our favor.
Yeah.
It didn't go more or worse.
Yeah. Well, I think what came out of it, I think what came out of it
Through
too,
the ringer on that.
yeah, I think what came out of it too as well, Mr. Chairman, is that the state is going to attempt to have that actuarial work done earlier in the year, so that the information comes out on a more timely matter. I mean, as you know, the town manager's budget is due to you folks per charter by February 18, which is kind of early, but it's not, there's probably about maybe 10 or 12 or 15 towns in that same general time frame as we have. So it caught a lot of us sort of flat-footed. But anyway, the resolution seems to be a solid one financially. Folks tend to agree with it, and hopefully, we learn a lesson. We start with about a 40% increase and work our way down during the budget.
But it looks like like you said, all the town managers and town authorities, whoever they're elected or whatever, went forward, and
Yeah.
first selectmen.
CCM played a big part.
CCM,
Yep.
the controller's office.
Yeah.
They
work together to find a better way.
When you have this many angry people, it's things actually happen.
The state comptroller actually went to one of my professional meetings. It wasn't here at the AquaTurf, but it was, I believe, in Rocky Hill. We have a meeting maybe 5-6 times a year, professional meeting, an educational session, and he was part of the agenda that morning, that day. And about his agenda was supposed to be, some of the items coming down the pike that were going to affect the state budget financially. The comptroller, I'm talking of the state, and instead he got pelted with everybody there, pelting him with questions about MERS. So he committed himself right then and there. He goes, "We are working on it now. We're going to," like he had with, as Mark said, with CCM. So he really did take the bull by the horns. He deserved a lot of credit.
And that's
on
what
it.
we want, right?
As does CCM. Yep.
Now, just so we know, the positive side, obviously, the town government and the Board of Education. The negative side just hits the town side.
Right.
Does not
Yeah,
hit
we
the
know.
Board of
Yeah, we know
Education.
that. So
All
let's
right,
talk about
so
the
let's talk about
negative
the negative
side.
side. Yeah.
On the negative side,
The Board of Ed wins.
the headwind. Okay, I learned something. Thank you. In case I'm ever a
You're
contestant
ever
on.
running a Boston Marathon over the bridge.
Exactly. There you
Know
go.
about the headwind.
Well, for when I appear on Jeopardy, I'll remember that. Obviously, you have both memos that both Assessor Teresa Babin and I sent to Mark Shota immediately upon having this information.
After the smelling salts and all that.
Yeah, after picking ourselves up off the floor. Basically, I think the memos, Teresa's is much more detailed about the ins and outs of what she believes happened, and then mine a little bit in a broader perspective as, geez, what do we do now type of deal. If we didn't have the good news with regards to the MERS plan, I think I would have not had much sleep between now and then. I should say then and today. But knowing that we have a little bit of a built-in cushion, sort of accidentally, this sort of cushions us for this accidental issue on the negative side. So obviously I'll leave it up to you folks if you have any questions.
Just put the number out.
Yeah, here's our plan. Here's our plan. Obviously, it's $500,000 that we are in the negative on our estimates. Our plan is to obviously leave the $650,000 in the current line item it's in, which, as you know, is in CMERS.
605.
605.
Yep.
That's going to stay in there. Also, we anticipate not as much as we originally anticipated, but we're going to anticipate some revenues above and beyond what our budget is. And the fallback position, the final fallback position would be when I do budget reallocation in April, I may have to do less. So I don't anticipate any issues with the budget.
Yep.
I don't anticipate you changing anything with the budget. No, nothing has to be frozen or anything. But that's our line item in order, what we plan on using as our defense against it. So.
And I got to just say, from doing internal controls, I did like the way it was handled. Not everybody makes an error, but you find the error, you examine the error, you look for the root cause of the error, you correct it, and you have to do the remediation right away, and then you turn around and say, how do I prevent this in the future? What controls could I implement or test, or look at either the design of the control effectiveness, and I think we've done all that. So can we prevent it ever happen again? No. But are we going to be in a much better position minimizing the risk? Yes. And so I was okay with how it all played out. But of course, not happy. Of course, none of us are happy.
None of us are happy, but obviously the first thing to do is full disclosure and then figure out what we're going to do. And that's what we did. So.
It was a good job. That's the main thing.
If it makes you feel any better, in 1995 or 1996, I discovered an error 2 months into the year that accounted for $1.3 million in tax losses. So
That doesn't make us feel any
And
Doesn't
that
feel
was-
any better. So
Well, it
don't
does-
Don't tell us the story, please. We don't want to hear
it was
But,
it was a better it was a much smaller community and a much larger effect, and we bounced back.
But I always say you look at the process, the systems,
Yep.
before you criticize people, and I think everybody, did the right thing here. I took care of it. And we're lucky the state controller, whatever he is, he took a hard look at MERS, and we got a savings.
I was very pleased with him. I really was. I
Good.
never met him before this meeting, and
Well, he just started
yeah,
in January.
that's true. He just took up. So he
He'll
and he
have
comes
a
from a
story to tell.
he was on a board of finance in the town that he's from as well. So he has some
Good things come
fiscal
from the Board of
knowledge.
Finance.
I tell you, everyone. And then there's Pocock. No,
Occasionally.
I believe there's one more.
a couple
item.
more items on the agenda.
Yeah. I think it's 12 is our next item.
Town manager's
Did I miss
transfers.
something?
What you have
Oh, okay.
listed under
Yeah.
Roman numeral 12 is a listing of, I couldn't fit them all on
Yeah,
the
that
agenda,
was just a
obviously, so
listing.
it's a whole page of small ones that are within the town manager, Mark Shoda's authority. So you'll see most of them are for 2023. And we had a couple in there already for 2024 for some pricing. One
Okay.
was an error in a budget for $200, and one was the
That
increase.
falls within the authority we granted.
That's correct.
so No issues there.
And that's all I think we have.
That's it.
Any other business for the board? All right, let's seek our favorite motion. Our time is 7:50.
Motion to
moved.
adjourn? Oh.
Adjourn.
Second.
I had to be-
Great. Thank you
Happy
very much.
40th anniversary.
48.
40th? 48?
40th.
I said 48.
40th.
48? What did you marry him when you were like
Too often.
15 years old?